Hi, my name is Christian and I'm one of the co-founders of Orca. Today we're gonna talk about this. This is the Orca Core. 70% of boaters use a navigation app on their phone or tablet when boating. These navigation apps are great, but they come with one big limitation. They don't communicate well with the sensors and systems on your boat. Historically, you would need to buy a chartplotter to get full control of your autopilot, view radar overlays, and view advanced instrument data that is shared by your boat's sensors. The Orca Core changes all of this. The device turns your phone and tablet into a fully featured chartplotter. Today we're going to talk about how it connects to your boat, the functionality it unlocks in the Orca app, from instruments to autopilot controls and radar overlay, and we'll talk about how it makes other devices on your boat, such as your autopilot or wind instruments, even better. There is nothing quite like the Orca Core. The Core gives your phone and tablet chartplotter level functionality. It lets you view instruments, control your autopilot, and do many other functions that historically you could only do on a chartplotter. So, how does it really work? Like a traditional chartplotter, it connects physically to your boat's equipment. It connects via these two cables. One connects to your boat's NMEA 2000 network. This cable also supplies power to the Orca Core. The other cable connects to Ethernet, which gives you radar access. It can also be used to give the Core internet access, which unlocks more experiences in the Orca system. Speaking of boat networks, not all boats have NMEA 2000. Many Orca Core owners have different networks like CTOC NG, CTOC, NMEA 0183, and even more exotic networks like MKE Topline. No matter which network you have, it's very easy to connect the Core to those networks via adapter cables or converters. Check out the link in the description below for more information on that topic. The Core also has a lot of other built-in functionality. It comes with a built-in high-accuracy GPS and a compass. The GPS is accurate down to 1.5 meters, and the compass is just as accurate as a standalone compass device that you can buy from other brands. This is very handy when you are navigating in complex areas. The Core also comes with a sailing processor, which gives you more reliable wind information on your instruments. More about that later in this video. The Core also comes with a built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi network to connect to your phone, tablet, or Orca display. On top of that, it has a built-in storage to log trip data, which gets synced whenever you connect to it. To get started with your Core, you'll need to install it in your boat. We designed it so the installation is as easy and quick as possible. The first thing to do is to find a suitable installation location. We got a complete guide on that linked in the description below, so we'll keep it brief in this video. Typically, the Core is installed where you would install a GPS receiver on your boat. That can be on the target top or on the push pit, but you have a lot more flexibility than that. You can install the Core by mounting it via this mounting bracket. This is the recommended way for faster powerboats. Another option is to use this bonding pad that ships with the Core. Place the pad on top of the Core and glue the Core to a flat surface, typically on the underside of the glass fiber in your cockpit. This works well for sailboats and slower boats. The Core can be installed outside or inside, but because the Core contains a GPS, we recommend a maximum of 1 centimeter of glass fiber cover above it to keep the GPS accuracy great. Once you've installed the Core, you just plug in the NMEA 2000 cable and it will power up and be ready for use. Once the Core is connected to your boat network, it will start to receive information from the other devices and share data from its built-in sensors. The core works with a lot of different equipment, from autopilots to wind sensors and fuel tanks. Orca works with pretty much any brand you got, including Raymarine, Simrad, B&G and Garmin. So as long as your boat has a network on board, the core will be able to work on your boat. We've installed the Orca Core. Let's connect to it and start using it. Once the Orca Core is powered on and I open my Orca app, the app will let me know that it has found a new core. I'll hit pair and give it a few moments to set up. This setup links the core to my Orca account, so as long as I'm signed in on this account, I will automatically connect from any device that I own. The connection between the core and my app is now also encrypted, so nobody else can use my core. After the first connection, the core may ask you to calibrate its compass. You'll do this by bringing your boat around in a circle, so this must be done on the water. With the core connected and calibrated, my Orca app suddenly gets a lot of new functionality. Next, we'll talk about the following topics. These are all timestamped, so if you're interested in anything particular, feel free to skip to that section. Let's start with instruments. I have a sailboat, and when I connect my core, I can see wind instruments in my Orca app. I can swipe through my panels to view different instruments in any layout that I want. We also got this great wind rose that shows me true and apparent wind along with currents. The wind rose is really helpful and lets you understand the wind situation at a glance. Instruments in Orca are incredibly flexible and you can set them up just the way you like. Let's say I want to keep track of my fuel levels. I long press on the panel, select the tank category and pick my instrument. That was instruments. Next up is Autopilot. Autopilot controls live on the leftmost instrument page. These controls appear when a compatible Autopilot is connected to the core. We support most modern autopilots. Check out the link in the description below for a full list. Autopilot controls in Orca work just like on a regular chartplotter. You have full control of modes, you can engage and disengage, adjust angles, and you can even make your autopilot follow a route that you have created in Orca. The autopilot integration is seamless, so changes you make in Orca are reflected on your existing autopilot controls, and the same goes the other way around. The autopilot controls also support automatic tacking and jibing, which is very helpful when you are sailing solo or short-handed. Having autopilot wirelessly available on all your devices on board is a game changer. And once you've tried it, it's really hard to go back to hardwired controls. Orca has a lot of really powerful sailing performance instruments that give you insight into how well you're sailing. To use this, you need to set up your polar diagram. To set your polar diagram, head to your boat settings. We pull polars from the ORC database, so if your boat has an ORC rating, you can use your actual polars. If not, search for your boat type and you'll likely find a match. Today, let's use a Dealer 30 as an example. Once I've picked my polar, I now have access to my performance instruments. These instruments tell you your polar targets and angles based on the measured wind speed, so you know if your trim and wind angles are in line with where they should be. These polar instruments are really fun to use, both for racing and for more casual sailing when you want to encourage friends or perhaps family to put in a bit of effort on trimming and sitting out on the railing. The sailing processor in the Orca Core gives you a lot more accurate and reliable wind data. This processor is always running in the background on the Orca Core when it is connected to a wind sensor. It takes the wind data from your wind sensor and then it uses information from the GPS, compass and your boat settings to produce accurate, true wind information. It automatically corrects for the most important wind measurement errors without any configuration needed on your end. If you really want accurate true wind angles, you can also calibrate for true wind tacking, which is useful for the more ambitious racers out there. Radar is an important safety tool for many boaters, and the Orca Core gives you radar access and control. You connect the core to your radar via this Ethernet cable. You probably need an adapter to set it up on your boat, so check the link in the description below if you want to know more about the radar connection. Once connected, you will get radar controls in your control center. Here you can engage and disengage the radar and adjust the major radar parameters and modes just like on a regular chart plotter. Another safety tool that a lot of boaters rely on is AIS. The Orca app shows you AIS targets even without the core. It does so by pulling AIS data from marine traffic via the internet. This is great for nearshore cruisers, but it requires an internet connection, which isn't something you can completely rely on when boating. This is why the Orca Core also pulls AIS data from any connected AIS receiver and shows this information in the map. It means you'll be able to view AIS targets in Orca just like on a traditional chart plotter, even when you don't have an internet connection. Next up is historical line. Historical line shows you where you've been. It is very useful when you want to retrace a narrow harbor or anchorage entrance on your way back out again. This is a function that we do a bit differently than traditional plotters. On traditional plotters, these are typically called tracks, and you either turn them on or off. And we have seen a lot of people who have kept this on and have a very messy home harbor with so many tracks going in and out of the harbor. To work around that problem, historical line only shows you up to 48 hours of your past track. You can also very quickly adjust how much track you want to see or turn it off entirely via the control center. This approach makes the Orca charts a lot easier to read. But what about the older trips? For viewing older trips, we have Logbook. Logbook runs in the background and records where you've been and what happened on your boat. It logs almost everything that happens on your boat network, so you can check how much wind you had on an old trip or what your fuel levels were at the end of your last trip. The sailing crew can also check how they performed against their polars through an entire trip. You can also export your logbook track to other tools if you are interested in going deeper or just want to share a trip with a friend. For checking in with your boat when you're at home, we built remote access. The core doesn't have a built-in internet connection, but you can connect it to the internet either via Ethernet cable or via Wi-Fi. I have a Wi-Fi in my marina, so I just connect the core to this Wi-Fi. I also keep my boat network on when I'm connected to shore power, and this lets me view my instrument data when I'm home. Remote access also works when you are underway and a phone is connected to the core. This is very useful if you are lending your boat to someone and you want to keep an eye out on where the boat is and what is happening on board. So this is the core. It is a fantastic little device that comes with a lot of really useful tools to make boating easier and more fun. If you are interested in learning more or buying one, head over to the Orca website. We got a link to that in the description below. If you have questions or want to share your experience with Orca Core, leave a comment. Thanks a lot for watching.